Welcome to Cop Gang. Today we're doing an in-depth tutorial on how to farm epic and legendary weapons in Dead Island Definitive Edition. Final and I have this process down to a science at this point, and we can't find any other methods that work as well as the one we came up with. Before we start though, I want you to know that this is a later game strat, and you'll need to be a bit familiar with the entire campaign and have some decent progress into your skill tree. Obviously it helps if you're level 60. So let's see what we need to check off the list before we get into the thick of it. You absolutely need everything in this list for this method to work. You'll need at least one friend, you can have more if you want. You'll need the level 3 lockpicking skill, all players should have this. You need progress into the campaign as far as the mission boat supplies. This is the mission after the main lab sequence where Moen brings his boat to the city and asks you to grab a few things for the trip to the prison. You'll also need a fully automatic rifle. Semi-automatic guns will not work. Any character can be used to do this method, but you can do a couple of extra things to increase the chances of high-level drops. It helps to have one player as Purna with the maxed out Jackpot skill. This gives the player a 15% higher chance for rare drops. It's also wise to have a decent source of money. For example, you can do this method where you just reload the laboratory map and check the 3 safes in the laboratory. This can be repeated as many times as you want. Alright, so now that we've covered what we need to make this work, let's get the method going. The most important concept to understand about this method is that one person will be running around checking metal chests for drops, while the other preps the fast travel for the group. From now on, I'll refer to the person checking chests as the runner, and the person prepping the fast travel as just the traveler. The person who hosts the session has to be the traveler in this method. The method will break if the session host is opening chests. If you only have one player as Purna, they should not be the host of the game since she has a higher chance of rare drops from chests. The Purna player should always be the runner. So go ahead and invite your friend to the game if they're playing Purna. If you have no Purna players, anyone can be the host. Alright, find the nearest fast travel point, and you're going to want to travel to Moen's boat in the laboratory part of the map. We'll start with the traveler's job. If you are hosting the game, remember, you have to be the traveler. Go ahead and sprint over to the fast travel map by the shed, and you're going to select Resort Bunker number 2. Once you select this thing, a red ring will pop up and ask for the party to come with you. Just stay in a circle and your job is done. Now for the runner's job. As the runner, you'll want to head to the right of the boat, go up the stairs leading into the building, go inside, and go up the stairs leading to this upper balcony. On your right will be a level 3 metal chest. Go ahead and open it. If the weapon is blue or worse, don't even bother with it. If it's purple, you can decide whether or not to take it. Real endgame players will probably not bother with purple weapons. If it's an orange, congrats, take your loot. After you've made your decision, go ahead and teleport to the traveler so that you can fast travel to the resort bunker. Once inside the resort bunker, the process is simply repeated. The runner will walk through this door, go up the ladder, and check both chests, one of which is a level 3. The traveler will spin around, open the fast travel, and select Moen's boat again. Make sure not to select this too fast since your friend needs to get out of the circle before you both get sucked in and sent back without checking. And that's it. You can do this method over and over and over, just back and forth between the boat and the bunker. There are a few catches though, and these are important, so listen up. If the runner finds an orange or legendary weapon, the traveler, or session host, should not go and grab it, even though technically both players can grab it. Only players other than the host can grab it. But now I bet you're confused how the host is supposed to benefit from this. Don't worry, this is where the rifle comes in. To share this weapon amongst the group, the person who picked it up should do a couple things quick. First, they should go to the repair table, of which there is one nearby in both locations, repair the weapon, and fully upgrade it. Don't mod it because your friends might want to do their own mods. Bring the weapon to a flat, open area away from edges, and drop it on the ground. Pull out your rifle and start shooting the weapon on the ground. The friend who needs the weapon still should grab it while it is being shot. This is finicky, so just give it a few tries. If successful, the player who grabbed the weapon should have it in their inventory even though it's still sitting on the ground. Congrats again, you just duplicated the weapon. The person who dropped theirs can pick it back up. It's best to time the shots with your friends so you don't waste ammo. So that's the important part of the video, but you should really stick around for the rest of it because I'm going to explain how this method works, some of the stats we collected from doing this many times, some extra things you can do to boost your drop rates, and some nuances that we haven't quite figured out yet, and it's honestly pretty interesting. You may have noticed how I was pretty insistent about the host having nothing to do with opening chests or looting them. This is for a very good reason. As the host, the game's looting system centers around you. Normally, when you open a chest, loot it, reload the map, and come back, the chest is just blank and won't allow you to open it. This is because the game takes measures to prevent the kind of farm we're doing here. To get the chests to refresh, you would usually have to either wait a while or get some incredible distance from them, or both. As a guest to the host session, other players usually don't make the game mark a chest as looted. Thus, if a guest player opens a chest, loots it, and reloads the map, the chest can be opened again because the game doesn't disable it since the host wasn't the one to open it. There are a few places where this doesn't work and the chest will become blank despite a guest looting it. This is essentially the science our method uses. A runner to slip past the game's defenses while the host taxis the runner back and forth. As for drop rates, the numbers can definitely vary. Like I mentioned earlier, a Purna player with 15% higher chance of rare drops will obviously increase drop rates. From the hours and hours Vinyl and I have spent doing this, we've noticed that you'll get about 1 to 2 orange weapons per hour on average most of the time. There have been times when we've gotten no orange weapons for over 2 hours. We have some theories about this that I'll explain in a sec. And yeah, it's a farm. Sometimes it's going to feel pretty grindy and boring, and like you're not getting results. But it works better than anything else we've seen. I actually dug into the game's code a little bit on my own time and looked up the loot tables for level 3 chests. When opening a chest, you have a 0% chance of getting white, a 77% chance of getting a green, 15% for blue, 6% for purple, and 2% for orange, which includes legendaries. But these numbers can vary. As for the theories, they're a bit far-fetched, and there's really nothing to back them up. But there's really no way to truly know the truth without cracking open the game's code. The reason you might see dry spells with the orange drops that go on for longer than normal might have something to do with a cooldown timer. Having poked around in community forums and other sources, I've heard a time or two that an individual player has a cooldown timer on how often they can get an orange weapon as loot. We've noticed that our orange drops usually happen pretty evenly spaced out from each other. You may have noticed yourself that after not playing Dead Island for a while, you'll come back and find an orange weapon almost right off the bat. On the other hand though, we have had instances where we get 2 oranges back to back, so who knows how it works. You may just have good or bad luck at times. There's also a strange bug that happens when you aren't at the right quest in the main plot. If your main quest is in the laboratory at the time, and your main spawn point is near the boat or possibly the laboratory, there's a chance that all the chests surrounding the area where you spawn will be blank. This is why I said you need to be at the level boat supplies. At this point in the game, the laboratory is unlocked, but the main quest is not in the laboratory map. If you're encountering this problem, simply progress until this point. As far as I know, this farm still works, and will probably always work. The devs don't really update the game anymore, even though the game is a bug-ridden gem. I doubt this will ever be patched. Thank you for watching, good luck, and let me know in the comments what weapons you find doing this method. Subscribe to Cop Gang for more content soon.